Hello, today I'm starting a new series on Mars through the houses. Now, Mars obviously it's a very, very strong planet. It's so I'm going to give you the indications for it, and then we go on to do Mars through the houses. So obviously, Mars rules Tuesdays. Direction is south. It's friendly with Sun, Jupiter, and Moon. And also works quite well with K2 as well, and it rules Aries and co-rules Scorpio with K2. So they're both quite sharp planets, and it's kind of neutral with Saturn, whereas Saturn is unfriendly enemy to it. But it just kind of needs the energy of Saturn in order to be stable. So it's also, for that very reason, it's exalted in Capricorn at 28 degrees. It's neutral also with Venus, and enmical with Mercury. Mercury and Mars just do not get on at all. So this is how it goes. And also with Rahu as well, it just kind of, this is a planet of impulsiveness. With Rahu, it can be a little bit too impulsive. So that's how it goes. It's actually debilitated in Cancer, even though it's a friendly sign. It's very odd because Moon and Mars are kind of friendly towards each other. In some texts it says that they're neutral towards each other, but they actually, both of them are debilitated in each other's house. So Moon is debilitated in Scorpio and Mars debilitated in Cancer. It rules red color, red coral, and it's basically rules anything to do with energy. So let's look at some of the indications of Mars. Mars rules siblings, and it's a karaka for siblings. Not elder siblings, but younger siblings. And it's obviously a masculine planet, and also rules land and property too. In terms of the body, it rules things like blood, muscles, bone marrow, and fevers. So here we go. The energy, it's all about energy, this planet. Energy, courage, sports, action and motivation, drive, determination, strive, domination, courage, bravery, passion, desire, sexual energy, sports, disputes, militant, impulsiveness, fiery, blood, heat, triggers. So blood runs to your head sometimes, like you see red or something. These are all Mars. Anything that triggers you: aggression, harshness, arguments, discord, fights, competitiveness, attraction. I don't know, some of them I might actually be repeating, hopefully not. Anger, accidents, logic, sexiness, land, property, activity, heat, fires, volcanoes, fast, speed, anything sharp, like razors, knives, pokers, even things like fiery things like barbecue are ruled by this planet. Metals too, and ambitions, physical strength, temper, sex, force. It's attraction for men and women. So whether if you are like female or male, gay or straight, it's still attraction. Explosions, fireworks, force, crisis, emergencies. It's the fixer, it's the go-getter, the warrior within us, and it's also the protector. And so a lot of things are ruled by Mars. Obviously Mars rules, because it rules obviously Aries and Scorpio are places that its own sign, so it's comfortable there. It's debilitated, obviously, as we said, in Cancer. It's friendly with Moon, but debilitated in his Sun, which is very strange, but it's very, very good. Works really well in Leo. It works really well also in signs to do with Jupiter. Jupiter rules Sagittarius and Pisces. Excellent houses, signs for it, because it's friendly with it. Having said that, if Jupiter is actually aspecting or in conjunction with Mars, it will be better than being in its signs, just because it kind of really grounds Mars, makes the energy much more put into better use, if you like. And there are certain jobs that you could actually never do without Mars. Mars is just that energy that gets things, motivation to get going. So when somebody has got like debilitated Mars, they could be passive aggressive, so they hold on to the emotions, because fourth house is emotions, and when it comes out as an explosion. So this is how it works. And Mars works differently in different signs as well. So Mars in, as Gemini says, when you have Mars in Aries, you just go for it. You're the warrior. You just go in, and if somebody is annoying to you, just punch them, literally. But Mars that is with in Scorpio will be backstabbing you. So this is how the energy is different. They're less likely to tell you that you're annoying them. They're more likely to do it in a secret way. So according to Sage Gemini, it's just so interesting. And Mars, obviously, with Saturn is grounded, and they both kind of together help the infrastructure of the world, if you like, because they without the Sun, without Saturn and Mars putting the energy together, you just can't have roads, you can't have buildings, bridges, all that kind of thing. This is an earthy planet, like in Capricorn particularly. These sort of people can be excellent architects, excellent builders, infrastructure, that kind of thing. It just puts form into everything. And it also obviously rules all the emergency services too, like all the military, police, fire brigades, ambulance, emergency services, all that kind of thing, and also security, secret service as well. Make great engineers, to do with civil engineers if it's with Saturn, computer engineers if it's with Mercury and Mercury signs, or even actually Rahu does that too. They make great lawyers, particularly if 6 houses. You will not be able to fight these people. They are just so strong. It rules criminals, robbers and gangsters if it's in poor condition as well. So this is where you can see where Rahu and has got something to do with it. Things can just go slightly wrong, in 8th house, things like that, 12th house stuff. So this is, and also we said that it rules any form of surgery and any kind of business that rules any sharp tools as well. So metal work, it also rules metals generally anyway, and mining, things like that, together with Saturn. So it's very important planet in terms of things happening. And there's an impulsiveness about any house that Mars sits in with us, and any house that it aspects as well. And it has got special aspects, so it aspects 4th house from it, 7th house from it, and 8th house from it. So there we go. This is how Mars works. So now I'm going to do everything to do with the signs, the houses that it's in. Just wanted to also say to you that it's obviously anything competitive. It rules all sports, particularly competitive sports. So this is where it's if you have it and you're quite sporty, depending on your Venus, you recover from it, because Venus is rejuvenation from sport or anything else. Mars has got directional strength in the 10th house, the same as the Sun. So this is an Upachaya house. Mars actually does pretty well in all Upachaya houses, particularly 3rd, 6th and 10th. 10th is where it gets directional strength, so it's logical, works really well. It's focused on getting the job done, putting the right energy in. In the 6th and the sixth house, which is another house that does really well. So this will be my second position that I like to see Mars. So this will be where Mars is able to deal with any form of enemies, discord, obstacles. It can fix things. It can. It's just logical, you know, in order to get you up in the morning, get you sorted, get you to work, service, and do things for other people. Amazing. And mostly if this is like you got really strong Mars in the sixth house, you could become fantastic surgeon, fantastic doctor, fantastic emergency service, police chief, lawyer, things like that will be amazing. And also obviously third house too, although third house, I mean all of those, 10th house is Upachaya, 6th house is Upachaya. Third house can give you some problems to begin with, because also Mars is the Karaka or significator of the third house. So whenever the Karaka is in the house, it's going to give you some problems. But with time, you just know exactly what to do. But it can give that impulsive kind of speech. It can give you you could sort of get yourself into a little bit of deep waters with your siblings, friends, and at work with your colleagues and things. But it does get better with time. You kind of figure out the reason why you got these issues with your siblings, and also because of that, it's because it's land or something like that. That could be this discord. So if there is like money left to property left for you and your siblings, there could be this kind of issues there. So these kind of things is just nice to know. But definitely 10th and 6th house are really good for Mars. Thank you. Mars in the third house. So third house is a house that's actually the Karaka for it is Mars. Mars rules siblings, particularly younger siblings, not the elder siblings. That's ruled by Jupiter. And 11th house. So this is literally your negotiation thing. So you're born, your family looks after you, you get that family education, food and all that. And now you have to negotiate. You got to communicate, express what you want to your family, to your siblings. You have to become brave and fight for your toys, fight for your time, fight for your attention, etc. So you need to start communicating. And obviously the very first communications comes with hands and those sort of expressions. So this is also an Upachaya house, so it gets better with time. It's a Kama house, so it's a house of desires. And Mars obviously means that there's loads and loads of desires in that sense. And also Mars is a masculine planet. So when it goes into the third house, it's likely that your next sibling will be a boy, particularly if it's in particularly it depends on the sign obviously as well. But yeah, so it could be a boy. And so there is like fighting. You have to become brave to get your toys, be heard, basically, negotiate, talk and see, try to fight for your corner, if you like. Third house being like the significator for the siblings and house of siblings. Now, there's an issue there. So when the Karakava house is in the house, there's always going to be an issue there. So there's possibly some form of past life issue there that you're here to sort out in this life. So the chances are that you're going to have some falling out with one of your siblings, younger siblings, at some point. But also Upachaya house, so you actually get the intelligence, because this is house of intelligence, intellect, and you express it to your sibling, and you get yourself out of that sticky situation, if you like. So it gives you the problems and it gives you the tools to deal with it. When Mars comes into this house, also it brings together Mars and Mercury, because it's a natural zodiac starting from Aries. Gemini will be the third house. So, and Gemini being ruled by Mercury, Mercury is not friendly with Mars, so there's always an issue there at the young age. But obviously these sort of things get better as we get older. And so at the very beginning, obviously, it's house of speech, so things could be really quick, really to the point, a bit cutting, a bit, that's how the person, Mars shows how we actually attack. So their means of attacking is just being really harsh, really, as they say in Britain, just like cut just below the belt, that kind of thing. So just like they literally say things that can be really cut into you, and also they can be quite chatty too, because this is like the situation where Mars is not really happy there, so you can just like over talk because it's not comfortable, and he gets himself into a really bad corner and he's got to paddle back again. And also at the very early ages, they can blush, because obviously this is a planet that makes you hot and bothered, and they can be a bit aggressive with their language. They can also be they can stutter or stammer at the early age. They sort of might have some speech issues at a young age, which will get better as time goes by. But definitely I've seen that people who have this, they can get quite flustered, go red. And generally speaking, though, they can, once they find their feet, they get a bit more confident. They're not so protective, because that's the problem with it. Because Mars is not very happy there. It's a bit protective of itself. They start playing, and they can be quite sort of curious, in the sense that playing games, chess and things like that will be really good. After a while, things settle. So, and it's also, if depending on the situation of the Mars, the person can be very good at learning or very bad at learning. It's just like information can be like their issue, actually absorbing information. So they might take in quite a lot of info. How that will sink in really depends on Mercury as well, because Mercury is also to do with this, to do with learning. So you want to look at Mercury in that sense too. Mercury's nakshatra will tell you a lot about that too. So there is this confluence between third house, Mars and Mercury. And so this is how you can see it, that as time goes by, they because third house is from the fourth house is from the third house. It's your sixth house, so they'll be very good. They can be very motivated in putting energy and being protective of their health. So they are not going to be like, they're not going to listen necessarily to information being told to them. They want to go and investigate it. It gives that curious mind, because naturally what happens is Mars rules the natural 8th house of the zodiac, so they want to go and find out and just get their resources. So I dare say the media, how they work on our minds, it's not going to work for them so well. And 7th house is from the 3rd house, is their 9th house. So this is again that a lot of energy is put on about like travel, learning about other languages, that particularly if Mars is connected to your 12th house, you'd want to go traveling and learn things about other cultures too. And so they and actually, as Mars, particularly if it's in a bad situation, it will put a lot of energy into it as time goes by, and they want to kind of learn more as time goes by. And the chances are they want to get married to somebody who's foreign as well, because the natural 9th house of the zodiac will be Sagittarius, which is far away lands. And it's really good if they're with somebody who, because this is a house of contracts, 9th house, somebody who has got the same belief system as them, or same religion as them, or they've been educated the same place, or they've traveled together. That kind of thing will be a really good basis for their relationship. And 8 houses from there will be, the aspect of Mars will be on the 10th house, which is the house of career. So there could be some changes. They will probably transform quite a bit through through work. And so if they've had really good teachers at work, leaders that they can look up to, they can do quite well, because obviously Mars is aspecting the 10th house. So there will be some destruction at some point, but once they rise up, they will be really having a very good foundation in that sense. So this is how it works from there. So let's have a look at the, just going to get a let's have a look at the ascendants. So for Aries ascendant, this will be Mars in Gemini. Clearly not a great placement. But the person, because obviously is a 3rd and 6th house ruler, they could be teachers, that kind of thing, because it's a work house, the 6th house. They definitely will be very much into their health and well-being as well. And 8th houses, they will research things. They really want to get to the bottom of things, see how things sits with them. And this also because from Aries, this is going to be like the sort of like 6th house will be like an institution. It's definitely, there could be teachers, they could work for a governmental job where they're teaching young students, because Mercury rules young people. So this will be like, there could be very likely that they might do some sort of work with children, with students, and they're very protective over their students as well, and their students' well-being as such as well. And then also from there, obviously, we talked about it earlier, so the 7 spaces from there will be from where they are will be Sagittarius. So they really enjoy learning, particularly if Jupiter is in good placement. They enjoy it. They enjoy kind of traveling with their dad. Their dad could possibly be like, the person that they go traveling with and have things in common. But they are very, very much into their lineage as well, because of Jupiter, and the placement of Sagittarius being sort of like a movable house, and they might go abroad to study too, that kind of thing. And obviously from there it'll be aspecting Capricorn, so there'll be changes in their jobs, but they really will get to the top of the rankings, if you like. They can achieve quite high placements because this is where Mars is actually exalted and is going to be aspecting it. For Taurus ascendant, this will be Mars in the 3rd house, will be a debilitated Mars in Cancer. So this will be somebody who can, as we said earlier, they can get like they can't express themselves, and everything will come out wrong, and they could actually be a little bit, for Aries, if they get angry, they just like comes out, all the drivel comes out, and they get it out the way. But with this one, they hold things back, and that could actually really upset. They really got to work on their throat chakra by doing things to do with Mercury, which is like singing, dancing, karaoke, that kind of thing will really help them. But yeah, this will be one that they can really upset their system. From there, though, it is also aspecting its 7 houses. From there will be their 9th house. So they will do very well to marry somebody from their own belief system, definitely there, because this makes Mars exalted there. And somebody who's really cultured and well-traveled, somebody who's into foreign languages, foreign things, and they're quite like somebody who is quite conservative and has got really quite traditional in their ways. 4th houses from their 3rd house will be 6th house, so it'd be like Libra. So and this is the natural sign of marriage, and so they could possibly go through a divorce, these people, and also generally speaking, because also, they can obviously deal with, Mars's aspect on the 6th house is really good. They're very service oriented. They're very committed to sacrifice things for other people and help other people in that sense, because of the nature of Libra. But yeah, because it is obviously 6th house happens to be just the natural 7th house of the zodiac. So there could be discord or divorce with one of their relationships. Then the 8th house, 8th aspect from the 3rd house will be their 10th house. So this is where Mars really helps them achieve quite a lot in work through changes, transformation. But because the 10th house is quite a stable house ruled by Saturn, they will stay in their job for a long time once they find the right job. For Gemini ascendant, third house will be Mars in Leo. So this will be quite nice placement. They will have very authoritative voice. What they say, people can just will take notice. So they will demand, their voice will demand attention, if you like, that kind of thing. And obviously from there, it will aspect fourth houses. From there will be their sixth house, so sixth house Scorpio. So again, not very good sign, but it's ruled by Mars, so it really protects the sixth house in terms of health and well-being and exercise and competitiveness and overcoming enemies and things. It is the natural eighth house of the zodiac though, so still got to be careful that they look after their health and well-being quite well and research it in order to get the answers for it. The answer is always there. If we look at it, we always find the answer. Then from there, so 7 houses from their third house, so their ninth house will be Aquarius. So they're likely to want to actually get married. Contractual sort of thing for them will be like, say, somebody from their own sort of group of friends. So yeah, so that would be like they'll do quite well being with somebody from their own kind of, amongst their friends. They probably go traveling with their friends too, and also obviously for them, this for Gemini, 6th house and 11th house are ruled by Mars. So this also creates a nice done yoga, but there could be deaths as well because of the very, very reason that it rules the 6th house, so it can spoil yogas. But as time goes on, things get better. The Upachaya house, the 11th house, also Upachaya house. So there's their luck and their fortune and all of that kicks in a bit later in life. But certainly education and learning will give them gains. 9th house. And also their 10th house is Pisces. So for them, it's this is also the sign that is the 12th natural sign of the zodiac. So they could travel with their work and they could become quite creative when they're working, which will actually then benefit their job as well. And so you can see that with that one. So this is for Gemini. For Cancer ascendant. For Cancer ascendants, having Mars in the third house will be Mars in Virgo. So this is definitely not a good sign for Mars, and it's natural 6th house of the zodiac. So there's going to be squibbles and disagreements between the two, sort of the siblings basically, because they can be quite critical of each other. They could just be arguing, or they could have lack of contact with each other as well. Just because of their arguments and stuff like that. But what it does, it also is very good for somebody who is for example, for a comedian, they would be amazing because they will be very quick, very punchy with their words. They can actually punchlines of the word, their jokes will just be on time. They'll be multi-talented because this is a sign that's really good at building things. They can possibly be really good builders, very good at construction, very handy with their hands really, because this is just naturally very somebody who's multi-talented, and they're very, very good at detail and pointing it out as well. So they're very critical, but it'll be good if it's used for work. It's amazing. So, but yeah, they'd be like they see anything wrong first. They don't really appreciate it. So this is the remedy for it, would be not to be so caught up in that. But they'd be very good because if they're an actor, they'd be amazing at really performing, putting that energy into that house will be really good. And also from for them also what happens is Mars rules really important houses. So Mars rules their 5th house for Cancer and also their 10th house of career. So they could definitely be in the media, in film, photography. They have a really keen eye on things, so it's just going to be amazing. Highly creative, highly successful as well, inspirational in the way they speak, and they put a lot of energy into learning and into their work, skills that they can use with their work. They also will be traveling quite a bit as well, because this third house is travel. And so what happens is they could also be very good lawyers as well, because Mars rules their 10th house. So they could also give, like, as a lawyer or a solicitor or something in court, they'd be like very dramatic, they really do a really good performance. So it'd be quite difficult to actually beat somebody like that, because they'd be very, very cutting. And so fourth houses from their third house will be the sixth house, which will be like Sagittarius. So again, another house to do with law and religions, all that kind of natural. Their sixth house is naturally the ninth house of the zodiac. So there could be problems and issues with the father. Father either critical of them, or they're critical of the dad. Or the dad could also be a lawyer too. So it's like a family trait. 7 houses from their third house will be their ninth house. So that would be Pisces for them. Pisces being so they could go abroad to get educated, or get married abroad as well. And their eighth aspect from the third house would be their 10th house. So again, there could be changes, stuff like that with work. But because it rules it, it'll be really good. It just protects that house, so they'll be very successful at work, and they could gain they could be a bit secretive about their job too. For Leo ascendant, Mars in the third house will be Mars in own house. So this will be like Mars that's really, they are secrets about the siblings, about friends. They have some secret interest maybe, that kind of thing, and they'd be very good at research. So they could be investigative journalists. They could go, what they call it, undercover or something like that. And so there could be something a bit like secret about their, one of their siblings could be quite secretive about something or other. And also Mars for them also rules, again, another Yogacaraka planet, rules for Cancer ascendants, having Mars in the third house will be Mars in Virgo. So this is definitely not a good sign for Mars, and it's natural sixth house of the zodiac. So there's going to be squibbles and disagreements between the two, sort of the siblings, basically, because they can be quite critical of each other. They could just be arguing, or they could have lack of contact with each other as well. Just because of their arguments and stuff like that. But what it does, it also is very good for somebody who is for example, for a comedian. They would be amazing, because they will be very quick, very punchy with their words. They can actually punchlines of the word, their jokes will just be on time. They'll be multi-talented, because this is a sign that's really good at building things. They can possibly be really good builders, very good at construction, very handy with their hands, really, because this is just naturally very somebody who's multi-talented, and they're very, very good at detail and pointing it out as well. So they're very critical, but it'll be good if it's used for work. It's amazing. So, but yeah, they'd be like they see anything wrong first. They don't really appreciate it. So this is the remedy for it, would be not to be so caught up in that. But they'd be very good, because if they were an actor, they'd be amazing at really performing, putting that energy into that house will be really good. And also for for them also, what happens is Mars rules really important houses. So Mars rules their 5th house for Cancer and also their 10th house of career. So they could definitely be in the media, in film, photography. They have a really keen eye on things. So it's just going to be amazing, highly creative, highly successful as well, inspirational in the way they speak, and they put a lot of energy into learning and into their work skills that they can use with their work. They also will be traveling quite a bit as well, because this 3rd house is travel. And so what happens is they could also be very good lawyers as well, because Mars rules their 10th house. So they could also give life as a lawyer or a solicitor or something. In court, they'd be like very dramatic, they really do a really good performance. So it'd be quite difficult to actually beat somebody like that, because they'd be very, very cutting. And so 4th houses from their 3rd house will be the 6th house, which will be like Sagittarius. So again, another house to do with law and religions, all that kind of natural. Their 6th house is naturally 9th house of the zodiac. So there could be problems and issues with the father. Father either critical of them, or they're critical of the dad. Or the dad could also be a lawyer too. So it's like a family trait. 7 houses from their 3rd house will be their 9th house. So that would be Pisces for them. Pisces being so they could go abroad to get educated, or get married abroad as well. And their 8th house, 8th aspect from the 3rd house will be their 10th house. So again, there could be changes, stuff like that with work. But because it rules it, it'll be really good. It just protects that house, so they'll be very successful at work, and they could gain they could be a bit secretive about their job too. For Leo ascendant, Mars in the 3rd house will be Mars in own house. So this will be like Mars that's really there are secrets about the siblings, about friends. They have some secret interest maybe, that kind of thing, and they'd be very good at research. So they could be investigative journalists. They could go what they call it, undercover or something like that. And so for Leo ascendant, Mars, again, Yogacaraka planet, rules 4th house and also 9th house. So this is house of parents. And so when he goes in the 3rd house, Mars will be in Libra. So obviously they have their siblings can be like in business, in commerce, in export, import, export, that kind of thing. They could be in law, in politics, something like that. And also there is kind of harmony amongst them. So even, because the Mars is not uncomfortable in this house at all. But what it means, because 4th house rule is in the 3rd house, they could always be moving as a family in their young years. They're always moving, and it could also be because of father's job or something like that. But there's always like movement of home and stuff like that. A bit unsettled, with the housing when they're a bit younger. And what happens is, because obviously it rules 4th and 9th house, then the 4th aspect from the 3rd house will be on the 6th house for Leo, which will be Capricorn. So they could be doing jobs that serves the community, work for the government, work for an establishment that's like to do with service, like education system, transport, something like that kind of thing. That's and they work through the ranks, and they probably are hard workers and stay in the job for a long time because of the nature of Capricorn, and they just progress with their whatever they're doing. 7th houses from the 3rd house will be their 9th house, and this is the 9th house is where is ruled by Aries, and it's ruled by Mars. So highly, father is quite sort of well known, and quite a domineering character, and obviously does really completely looks after the education They travel a lot. Their further education, all those kind of things are protected. They probably also, they want to get married to somebody who's got the same kind of belief system as themselves. They could be quite religious, actually, despite the fact that Mars aspects that. It could be quite they like somebody who's got similar sort of things to them. And 8 houses from the aspect will be like so it will be Taurus for them. So Taurus will be like basically will be the 10th house. So this will be Yoga Karka planet, in there. So it creates really nice Raja Yoga success, and they will do really well. This is really quite nice placement there. And so for Virgo ascendant, this will be Mars in the 3rd house, will be Mars in Scorpio. So this is Mars rules Scorpio, so it's very nicely placed there. There could be some secrets about the work that the siblings do. Maybe they're working, something secret about them anyway, that's for sure. And what happens also for them, Mars also rules their 8th house. So some in-laws also is ruled by the 8th house. So when it's there, they just like everybody communicates really sort of Martian towards each other, and there could be some secret dealings going on as well by the nature of the 8th house ruler coming into the 8th house of the natural zodiac. So you just want to be aware that there could be something secret about the in-laws that you don't really know. But there could be that you need to watch, when you're walking or exercising and things like that, because the natural sign of the so when you're actually cutting things and stuff like that, just be careful, because 3rd house is what we do with our hands. So just when you're cutting and everything else, you need to just be careful, because I'm just that much more accident prone. And it's also not really friendly with the ascendant as well. So 6 houses for them will be like Aquarius. So they could also, their enemies can be one of their friends, for example. And 7th aspect of Mars from the 3rd house will be 9th house, which is Taurus. So they could be quite, the whole family could be quite educated, cultured, well-traveled, well-educated. And then 8th aspect from there will be onto the 10th house, which will be work and what it does. It could just they could do a lot of research and learn a lot of skills too, and very technology minded as well, because 3rd house is technology, computers, internet, that kind of thing. That's sort of a job. Then for Libra ascendant, Mars rules their 2nd and their 7th house. When it's in the 3rd house, it's in Sagittarius. So 3rd house is also learning aspect in the 9th house. These people are avid readers, probably avid travelers. They love going away with their friends. They've probably got lots of activities that they're quite adventurous, doing things. And learning, it will be definitely a theme of their life in that sense. And also because of Libra ascendants, their 7th and 2nd house ruler is always traveling, so they could be traveling quite a lot. They could meet their partner whilst traveling, or if they do like dancing, they could meet their partner out dancing, something like that. So for Libra, their 6th house is Pisces. So from there it'll be aspecting Pisces, so it will really look after their health in that sense. And because it's natural 12th house of the zodiac, a little bit of rest and rejuvenation will be good for them. Then it aspects their 9th house. For Libra, their 9th house will be Gemini. So they like to they're highly learned, very sort of multi-skilled, multi-talented. Their father, they could be really chatty with their father. So if they get any issues or anything, they like to have a chat with their dad, just to talk it over and just see what their opinions are. Then eighth aspect from there will be from on the 10th house, which is Cancer. So Cancer will be like, it's quite a fast moving sign because moon moves fast, so they could change their jobs quite quickly. There could be sudden changes in their jobs as well, or they do some form of secretive type of work as well. So that kind of thing can be the theme for them. For Scorpio ascendant, third house is Capricorn. And what happens is Mars rules first house and the third house, so Upachaya house. And so it will, obviously this is house of skills, so they're really amazing at learning things, very quick, very logical, very stable house. They could become really good at DIY for that reason, because it's like brings Saturn and Mars together, very logical, very grounded. Their siblings can be quite mature, and they also could be quite moving shakers, quite very successful at work. And the more they learn, the more they travel, the better they, it helps their kind of their career and their job, stuff like that. So because this is literally, they're so talented, and they could also be very very authoritative at speaking. So when they say something, you just want to just like, oh, okay, even if they tell you off, you feel as though you've just gained some knowledge, because the nature of Capricorn. And obviously there could be enemies. They could have falling outs with their siblings for sure, because also sixth house ruler. They're very competitive with their siblings too. So fourth houses from there will be their sixth house, so it's aspect in own sign, so they'll be really good at looking after their health. They're probably very sporty, very competitive sports. That will be how to keep them really on straight and narrow. And seventh houses from there will be their ninth house, and their ninth house for Scorpio will be Cancer. So they just like mum and dad, really. This is because also ruled by the moon. Their parents probably travel quite a bit too. They quite like to be quite cultured in a sense. They like foreign things and foreign languages and stuff like that, because this ninth house Cancer is overseas. And eighth aspect from will be on Leo. So this will be like their 10th house. So again, this brings together two signs that are very kind of orthodox, authoritative signs in terms of work. So they gain a lot of secret skills that helps their job. Then for Sagittarius ascendant, Mars in the third. Mars will be their 5th and 12th house ruler in the third house. So this will be in Aquarius. So Mars will be very much like, they probably will have a lot of male friends actually in that sense, because third house is friends, and this is natural 11th house of the zodiac, which is networks and friends. So they've got lots of groups of friends that they do a lot of fun things together, quite, maybe go skiing and things like that, because Aquarius is one of those winter months. They go away together, do fun things together. They quite like to spend time with their siblings. They just treat them like friends as well. They do things together here, there, and everywhere. And then so what happens is with Sagittarius, basically, they just really enjoy the romance, and everything kicks in as well every time they travel, because it's the 5th house thing as well. So their children could get actually educated abroad, or be like in boarding school or something like that. Seventh houses, the 6th house from there, for Sagittarius, 6th house will be will be Taurus for them. So they could have eating organic foods and good foods and things like that will really look after their health. And the 7th aspect from Aquarius will be in Leo. So their father could be very highly respected, authoritative figure. You know, they could come from that kind of background, which is quite respected, high-ranking father, that sort of thing. And then 8th house from there will be Virgo. So this will be like 8th aspect will be on their 10th house, which their 10th house is like, so that this will be the 5th house ruler in the 10th house. 5th house ruler aspect in 10th house. So it's good. So the changes that they do can actually bring them like happiness. They can, you know, the changes can also be that they work abroad, that kind of thing. So that's for Sagittarius. Capricorn, for them 3rd house will be Pisces. So Mars in Pisces, it's in a friendly sign. It's pretty good. It is also an emotional sign as well. So, but nonetheless, though, it's house of 12th house. So if they move, they probably move abroad. But family had probably moved quite a lot in the younger years abroad, maybe lived abroad for some times. And again, because it's natural 12th sign of the zodiac, so there could be that there are some of their siblings that they just don't see because of that. From there is also aspect in the 6th house. 6th house for Capricorn is will be like Gemini, and so Mars will be aspect in that. So they could be like their speech, how they are with their like siblings can get them into trouble and cause issues with friends or colleagues as well. But also they will be quite good at sort of fixing things as well, because this is a multi-talented sign. So they can work any arguments. They can talk that, you know, talk the people around, if you like. So yeah, it is kind of protective aspect, you know. But anyway, but also, you know, that if they get ill or anything like that, they'd be searching the internet to get all the answers. 7th aspect from Capricorn, from Pisces will be the 9th house will be like Virgo. So definitely some issues with dad's health, or you know, arguments with dad. Just don't get on with the father. And then 8th aspect will be their 10th house. So this will be Mars aspect in Libra. So they will be very good. Anytime you have that, it will be good. Mars' aspect on the 10th house. But it still causes some changes, some sudden changes, some sudden gains or losses, just because of the nature of the 8th house. For Aquarius, so this will be Mars, will be in the 3rd house own sign. So this is Mars in Aries. And for Aquarius, Mars, a good planet, rules 3rd and 10th house of career. So they will be very direct speakers, to the point, say it as it is, and it's pretty good being like that. There is no mistaking. They say what they feel and get it out of the way. And so they're definitely there. The more they speak and the more they learn skill, the better their work kind of thing elevates them. So from there, the aspects, the 6th house, which will be Cancer. So Cancer is obviously is ruled by the moon. So you know, they really kind of get hurt when people say things to them, you know, because it's an emotional sign. They can overthink and overdo it, you know, like if somebody's said something, you know, they can overthink stuff just because of me, and they probably, you know, hold that grudge for a bit, because again, you know, it's a very sensitive sign, and they learn to cope with that with time. But they do very well to just like look at ways to actually help themselves, in terms of just be aware that if you say something, you're going to upset other people, that they can upset you back. So just being that kind of aware of words and how they can hurt other people too. And then from there also aspects the 9th house, and 9th house for Aquarius will be it will be like Libra, gosh, I'm getting exhausted doing these things. So yeah, so this will be like Mars aspect in the ninth house. So the father could be a very diplomatic, could be a judge, lawyer, a merchant, very business-minded person, really fun father, and they just really, there is good banter between them. Good, they get on probably quite well with their dad, highly educated, that kind of stuff, and their education will be good as well because Mars is friendly with Venus, and also this is the eighth aspect from where Mars is in Aries will be own sign, which is Scorpio. So it protects all things to do with their job, and they probably got a secret job, secret service, undercover policeman, detective, private investigator, some kind of, or security services, things like that too. And now Pisces. So third house for Pisces is Taurus, and Mars for them is a really good planet. It rules second and ninth house. So when it goes in the third house, they could have a wonderful voice. They could be a singer. Father could have a good voice too, and the whole family are very, because from their Mars's aspect in the ninth house, obviously, the father could be quite learned, well-travelled. There's like good banter between them, get on with the father. And six houses from sixth house would be Leo, which is interesting because at work they could have some enemies at work, and they could have a governmental job. Then and it's also from their eighth house, from where Mars is in Taurus. We have nine houses from there will be Scorpio, so something secret about the father, that kind of thing. There's something about dad, don't know. Maybe their dad is maybe it's like a stepfather or something like that. Something secret anyway about the father, that kind of thing. And definitely issues then can be also to do with religion, something like that. Then we have the 10th aspect in the 10th house will be Mars aspect in Sagittarius. So this could be a job that's very much to do with law, something of that nature. This will be 9th house ruler in the 10th house. Really good done yoga, very, very good for success. They'll be very successful at work, highly respected too, and and elements of that job will be quite secretive too. I hope that was okay. Doing these is a little bit odd. So anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. Thank you.